Yo guys, welcome to this Kirkleatham video. In this video, I'll take you around some of the historic buildings that remain here at Kirkleatham. So if you haven't already, then subscribe to the channel. Right then, let's get into this. What you are looking at here are one of two bastions linked by a wall with a second a few hundred yards away. Now these were built for Sir Charles Turner in the early to mid 18th century. Although they were made as garden features, they may have been considered for defence against invasion by the French privateers. This bastion at the roadside was actually adopted as a pillbox for defence during World War II. There we go, this is the second bastion, this is on the actual field. So this would have linked the first one by a wall. So as I said, these were originally used for garden ornament type of thing. And the two were linked by a wall going straight down to the other one. And only the one by the roadside was used in World War II. What you're looking at here is a toasting gate. Maybe this was used for like the gate to the estate. Horse and carts coming through there up to the Kirkleatham Hall, as it was known originally. Maybe people was manned it type of thing. That's why there's doors to the top. Maybe it was connected to the bastions. I'm not 100% sure about that. What you're looking at here is a 18th century coaching house in Kirkleatham, which had various historical uses such as storing and repairing carts, and possibly developed for groundkeepers as a base to protect trespass onto the estate. It is the last remaining dwelling from a period in the 18th century, fashionable with emparkment. The practice of repopulating villages to nearby Yerby and Corkham, clearing away wretched hovels and turning the entire village and the fields beyond into a parkland setting for Kirkleatham Hall. Following the sale of the land in the 1950s, it became a residence and was finally given over to the council in the 1980s. The council used the building as a base for security around the grounds. It suggested that an idea to present Kirkleatham as a show village in the mid-1980s, which never came to fruition, has prevented West Lodge from ever being turned off for private or public use. Kirkleatham Hall was demolished in 1954 and the stable block became derelict until its recent restoration. The stables were once used as a stud farm for racehorses, and the circular tower with cupola was possibly used for viewing horses as they walked around the yard. Flying Dutchman, regarded as one of the finest racehorses of the 19th century, was kept there. Obviously you can't have a look around because it's doing works and you can't get inside, so we never bothered. It's a shame. These gate piers to Kirkleatham Hall date from about the 1700s. And on top of each one is a sculpted lion peasant holding millrind. The hall was demolished in 1955 when the gates and overthrow were destroyed. Right, here is St Cuthbert's Church. St Cuthbert's is based in the heart of Kirkleatham village. St Cuthbert is one of the oldest churches around and one of the best examples of Georgian architecture. It was built in 1763. It's situated in a village with lots of interesting history. Sir William Turner resided in Kirkleatham, and the village is full of listed buildings, such as some that we've already seen, with stables, with a Grade 1 listed Lion Gate period that we've already seen from the 1700s, and a Grade 2 Toasting Gate, and that was from the 1780s. St Cuthbert is a Grade 1 listed building and was built on the site of a church thought to have dated from around about 800 AD. On ground used as a resting place where monks carried and placed the body of St Cuthbert before going on to Durham, his final resting place. The mausoleum attached to the earlier church dates back to 1740, built by James Gibbs, one of Britain's most influential architects. And there's plenty of graves here, dated back years and years and years. Right, now we'll be walking to Kirkleatham Museum, and I'll tell you a bit about that as we get there. So yeah, these houses are extremely old. Don't know how far dated that these go, but you're probably looking at the 1800s possibly. Maybe they were built at the same time as the church. Beautiful houses. Right then, here we are at Kirkleytham Museum. This museum opened in 1981 and it dates back to 1709 when it was formerly a free school. The Kirkleytham Museum is the local heritage museum for the Redcar and Cleveland Borough. The museum is housed in the historic 18th century Old Hall in Kirkleatham, a stunning early Georgian mansion. The hall was built in 1709 by Cholmondeley Turner, the great nephew of Sir William Turner, who provided the money for the project. The younger Turner wanted to create a free school for boys as an act of philanthropy. The new free school building was laid out in 3 bays. The central bay was the school, while the wings provided accommodation. One wing was reserved for the schoolmaster. Sir William Turner lived in Kirkleatham Hall, almost directly opposite the free school. In addition to the school, he built almshouses and a hospital. The free school is still in operation as Sir William Turner's sixth form college, but in newer premises. Cholmondeley Turner lavished money on Kirkleatham and added several other outstanding Georgian buildings, including the Turner Mausoleum in the neighbouring church of St Cuthbert's. The former free school building was transformed into a museum in 1981. Right guys, so that was Kirkleatham Museum. Now we'll be going to have a look at the almshouses. See if we can have a little look in there. Here we are at the almshouses. As he approached retirement, Sir William Turner founded his almshouses on the family estate at Kirkleatham. Officially known as Sir William Turner's Hospital, it was never a medical establishment. The word hospital is used in the old-fashioned sense, meaning a place offering hospitality. The hospitality was in the form of free accommodation for 10 elderly men, 10 elderly women, and up to 20 orphaned boys and girls. The almshouses are now listed at Grade 1 in the historic building due to the quality of its building and its historic connections. At the centre of the building, beneath the dome tower, stands the chapel, virtually unaltered since it was remodelled in 1742. The stained glass windows are of natural importance, having been painted by Thomas Price in the 1740s. Price's other surviving windows include several at Westminster Abbey and a number of the churches in the City of London. On display in the chapel are several interesting artefacts, including the life-sized death mask of Sir William Turner. The original letters patent granted by King Charles II to Sir William Turner and a copy of Mary Beale's full-length portrait of Sir William dated from the 1660s. The east wing on the left as you enter originally housed the elderly women and the schoolgirls. The women each had a ground floor cottage, and the first floor was provided a classroom, museum and library for the girls. The men and boys were similarly accommodated in the west wing. Statues set in the niches at first floor level near the entrance to the courtyard indicate where the men and women were accommodated. The houses either side of the chapel at the end of the courtyard were for the schoolmistress and the headmaster of the school that was provided for the young people. Small statues on the corner of the chapel roof indicate the accommodation for the boys and girls in their attic dormitories above the teachers' rooms. The school closed in the 1940s and the entire building has been converted to provide 25 flats for people in their retirement years. Set in 3 acres of parkland, the almshouses also provide a small unit for occasional visits, a laundry and a residence lounge. And in these pictures you can just see what Kirkleatham Hall used to look like back in the day. Quite fascinating, really. So now I'll just leave you with a couple of pictures to end. This is one of the Bassingtons that we've seen. There's the toasting gate. These are just a few pictures of St. Cuthbert's Church. You can see the graves at the front of there. And there's some of the gravestones in the actual churchyard. And there's a couple more gravestones. And here is Kirkletham Museum, what it looks like today. Possibly reduced in size.